So I'm from Colombia, and a friend said, you have to meet my friend from Paraguay who wants to make a film about Paraguay, that every time that she says I'm from Paraguay, nobody knows what it is. And so I met her and Alejandra Amarilla, and we talked and said, well, now we have to find the characters. And so we traveled to Paraguay, and we found like 5 different stories. The last day we found this, we heard about the story of the Recycled Orchestra.
Only on the last day?
Yes. And I am trying to remember if we were actually able, we met some of the characters. We couldn't do that much because we were leaving. So we did a lot of the developing and interviewing via phone for a while. And we came back, and I'm trying to recollect the order because some of the main characters that we met during the first developing trip, they're not the same characters that appear on the film. They were probably too advanced in the process, and we wanted to take the audience into that transformation arc. So we kept in contact with them until Fabio, the teacher, said, I said, do you have any little kids or any little kids starting? And he said, yes. And we're like, well, it would be wonderful if we can meet the little kids and if we can experience what they're going through. And that's when we start the whole journey. And of course, it takes years, for somebody to learn how to play an instrument. So that was kind of like the scary part as a filmmaker, because you want to know how long is it for how long I'm gonna be filming. I'm gonna have to build my budget. I know it's a year. I know I'm gonna have 3 trips. With this, it was a risk, but the main character was so fascinating that, we believe, in my personal view, I knew he was gonna make it. And so it was a lot to risk for everybody involved. And we start filming, and wonderful things start happening in this story, and we didn't have the budget to keep filming. And so that was how the idea of the teaser came about. I'm sorry if I'm trying to look at my camera, but I'm also trying to look at an ad here. So tell me if I'm looking right. But so that's how it happened. It happened out of the need of find funding. And also we hate that we were missing stuff in front of us in this story. And that's the most challenging film for a filmmaker, is that you have to film this, you can't miss it, and I need funding to do it. So I proposed to the 2 executive producers if we could release some of the images of what we had in order to get funding, and to go back to some of the grantees that had previously said no, because things look very different in paper. And especially English is my second language, so I can do the best to put things in paper. But our strong side as filmmakers is show me, so show me the images and the audio. And so that's when we put together this teaser. And I keep telling the editor, make sure you add this, make sure you correct this, because many people are going to see this. In my heart, I didn't know, I just had a feeling that many people were going to see it. So we kept twisting it and twisting it. I think we edited that 3 minutes, going back and forth like for a month, until finally we said, okay, let's do it. And that's what it changed the story for the characters, and when it changed the story for us. And we were able to get the grant that we really wanted it to officially start production and get more people involved. And that was a fantastic tool. So when you're shooting your production, just keep in mind that you need that beautiful trailer and make a list when you're shooting. It's like, oh, I love this for my trailer. I love this audio. I love this image. Is the most powerful tool you can have.
Maybe we see it now, so we will get the feeling of it, and then I'll ask you more about it.
Mi nombre es Ada Maribel Ríos Bogado, tengo 13 años y toco el violín.
Me llamo Juan Manuel Chávez, más conocido como Baby, tengo 19 años y toco el cello. Este cello está hecho de una lata de aceite, la madera tirada en la basura y las clavijas son de una vieja cuchara para golpear la carne y para hacer el ñoquis. Y suena así.
Una comunidad como Cateura no es un lugar para tener un violín. De hecho, un violín cuesta más que su casa.
En ese grupo acá mismo encontramos el colado de violín. Y de ese empezamos los instrumentos reciclados. La familia que acá vive recicla todo lo que hay en la basura y se vende. No pensaba antes que yo voy a hacer ese instrumento. Y me siento demasiado feliz cuando estoy viendo a un niño que está tocando un violín reciclado.
Cuando ya escucho el sonido del violín siento como mariposa en el estómago, así una sensación que no sé cómo voy a explicar.
Bueno, la orquesta de instrumentos reciclados es una orquesta que toca instrumentos hechos con la basura.
Un, dos, tres y...
Mi vida sería, sin la música, estaría de core y por ahí.
La gente se da cuenta que no tenemos que tirar la basura muy fácilmente. Y no tenemos que desechar a las personas muy fácilmente.
¡Fuerte, fuerte!
Okay. So, preparing this, what was the most important thing that you wanted to you said you worked at it over a month, and it's a lot for one trailer, it's a teaser. And I guess the character and the story, but what was the most important thing that you wanted that will be there?
I thank you for your comments. So I have to clarify, just we call this a teaser because the movie was in production when it happened. So the most thing, and I have to confess, I haven't seen this teaser in such a long time until we talk. And so I took a notes and I thought, okay, what was going through my head when I was editing this? And it was, this first thing I wanted to do, it was to bring an audience to a place. to transport you, because that's actually one of the reasons why I do films, because I want to be the bridge between cultures and to transport, and so that you're able to actually like smell the place if you can't. Then I was thinking about what could be a good quote, because Fabio, the main character, is just such a beautiful person, and the way just he speaks is so eloquent, and I'm like, oh my God, he has so many powerful audios and clips. And I said, what is the main most powerful? And it was that the world sends us garbage, we send them back music.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing is I wanted to show a problem, which it was like it's built in a slump. And then I wanted to show the characters. When we were filming, I do remember thinking in like, what could it be a cool shot for a trailer? And that's when it occurred to me to have them play in front of the camera, and with the brick, like a plain backdrop, and just concentrate on the eyes and the hands of the characters and the beautiful instrument, and just let the instrument play. And I wanted to catch them with something unique. And like, of course, I didn't have to do much, because the unique, it was the instrument. As soon as people were going to hear the instrument playing, that was my hook right away. So I knew that when I was on the set, and back then I was directing. We hired directors as we were going, but for the teaser, I was the director too. So it was show them something unique and something visual, and the images, it was to evoke some feelings. How do I want the audience to feel? I wanted to inspire them by the end of the film, and also I wanted to tell them what we were looking, from this teaser, which it was at the end. You can see this like us, look in his Facebook, and people were so nice that they actually did what the teaser says at the end, which actually
they follow the call for action.
It was the call for action, and I just get chills right now, because I haven't talked about this in a long time. Mm-hmm. And as I'm actually about to launch my next teaser in the next my next teaser trailer in the next few weeks, when I saw this, I'm like, should I also my call to action on this one? So that was what we were looking to do, and we got that support that we were looking for. The only tricky part of a teaser, when you're launching a teaser, is that the story keep progressing, and people wanted to see the film like right now. It was hard for the audience to understand that the film was still in production, and so we did this beautiful Kickstarter campaign to find the funding to keep filming, because every time the orchestra kept getting bigger and bigger, and it's like, oh, okay, and we love getting it bigger, but that means plane tickets to follow them, that means hotels, that means camera rentals, flying people here and there, and so it was a challenge explaining people we're still in production. No, when is it gonna come? We're still in production, please wait, I'm telling you what to wait, because it's not the same to see them halfway on the journey that what we waited at the end of the film. Oh, for the ones that have seen it, they play in big concerts. And so it was having that patience. Mm-hmm. And some people ask us, Kate, did you waited too long? I don't think so. I think the story deserved it to have that journey.
How long did it take you to feel the whole film? I mean, from the moment you decided, okay, these are the main characters, I'm going for this story, mm-hmm. until the first version was out there?
So we really start talking in October of 2008. That's when we didn't have a story. And we hired somebody on the set to help us locate what are the issues, what are the conflicts, the potential characters. And then we traveled to Paraguay in April, so 6 months. And we came back in 2009 to film.
Mhm.
Actually, it was a 13-minute piece of characters that didn't make it in the film.
In the show.
So what I told you is, it's like, okay, but we were finding more and more. So it was a good exercise for us.
Mhm.
Officially, we start officially in 2010. So we filmed for 5 years. We edit for about a year. And
in which stage do you release the teaser?
we released the teaser in 2012.
Mhm.
And the film started being in festivals in 2015. Like being shown in festivals in 2015. And then it was officially released, broadcast in 2016 in theaters.
So it was a risk at this part. I mean, when you choose the exact time when to release the teaser, but because you knew people will react and it will affect fundraising, it was a good way to deal with it, and you got the fund.
It was the only way to do it. It was the only way to do it. Without this follow-up that we have, we couldn't have made it.
And then where did you, how did you spread the teaser? Where did you put it? For people to show and react.
Okay, so the first thing is, before releasing the teaser, we just didn't put the teaser online, like, hey, let's just put it on YouTube. So there was a discussion of like what entities and what type of champions could follow up the film. So we, with the help of, a couple of people, like we start writing to organizations that we thought could support us, and we asked, can you be our outreach partner? This is with a letter. This is, you only have to tell, like the trailer. If you like the trailer, please share it with your people. And of course they will have like 10,000 or 20,000 follow-ups. So we did a little bit of that groundwork before we launched the trailer, so the people were starting to like it. But it was just went insane within a few weeks. I think people were just looking for something so inspiring that they connect, and the story was pretty universal, and it connect with the audiences.
I think now we'll see the official trailer.
¿Entienden? Bueno, entonces tienen que atender.
Mi nombre es Víctor, toco el cello.
Mi nombre es Ada Maribel Ríos Bogado y toco el violín.
Ahí va.
A group of kids in Paraguay actually made all of the instruments out of trash.
Look at this. That's a fork, people.
Let the gift of music shine through tonight on that stage.
So can you explain the difference? I mean, this was a theatrical release, and explain what was the different in the brief you made for this editor.
Yes. Well, we had more elements to share now. So now we have the film, and then we definitely wanted to introduce a little bit of like we wanted to introduce the going viral, because the going viral was part of the exciting part of the story. The editor, to start with, the editor was different. Now, when I do a trailer, and of course, you know, if we're students, then we do it ourselves, or we work with our editor. Right now, I have a great editor that I have been working for years. We have done already like 5 trailers together, and so the editor was different.
You have a fresh eye.
Yes, exactly, and a fresh eye. And the main thing we did, and every time that we worked together, is we built a script, and I did it with the teaser too. But in here, we knew we wanted to use title cards too. So we first discussed the idea, and we built the title cards. And I wrote some notes here, because you can see it says 2,500 families living on a mountain of trash had a simple idea. And then we added some elements that will remember the audience. Oh, these were the same people. So we added that line that people love, which is the world send us garbage, we send back music. And then the next cards were the world saw a landfill, they saw opportunity. The music that united a town became this story, and that's when we went into to tell that story. Was the viral. Mm-hmm. And then we just have this beautiful audio clip that I wasn't sure how people were going to connect to it, because it was, to me, was very uplifting and beautiful. And it says, this went, he said, "Let the gift of music shine through tonight in that stage." And they're praying. And so it's like, some people, you know, may not pray, or this, how is it going to take? And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Everybody is about the faith, and they connecting together.
Yeah. Even if they don't believe.
Say?
Even if they don't believe in God, for example, they can say.
Who's not gonna connect with people holding hands, looking together, ready to about to walk in this battle? And so we left it, and it was pretty uplifting. And then the title comes, and you see the arc, you know, from the beginning to, wow, that big concert, which, by the way, it was Metallica concert. Wow. that they did. And of course, another nice element that we had, it was that we had the festivals at that point.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful to have all those festivals, and give more credibility to the film. So it was a nice element to start with.
Yeah, of course. And then we said we will talk about your next film. You want to say a few words about it, or you want to see the trailer first?
And are you guys ready to see another trailer? Can I show you my? Okay, this is my new baby, and I hope you connect to this story. But this is a story that happens in my hometown, and is the first time that I appear on one of my films. So please go ahead and show it.
Just a second.
Can they see the link? I don't see a link.
Just a second.
Can you guys see the link now?
You got it, right? Okay.
I can see it.
You can?
Okay, yeah, the opening is
Okay.
it's equal.
Until recently, not many people had ever heard of Cúcuta, my hometown in Colombia. It is a small border city that rarely makes the world news. But in February 2019, the world suddenly woke up. When I was growing up here in Cúcuta, it was a peaceful place. I loved it. At Christmas, we crossed the border to Venezuela, the shining light on the hill. Back then, Venezuela was where you wanted to be. But in the late 90s, Venezuela slowly descended into chaos.
Construyendo la vía venezolana al socialismo.
Porque la corriente.
Under Chavez and then Maduro, Venezuela started slowly becoming a dictatorship. That was when the refugees started to arrive in my city. At first, a trickle, then a flood. The whole world converged on my city, and I came back to make a film about it.
¡Viva Venezuela! ¡Que viva!
Y Maduro.
Que hay mucha escasez de comida, de gas, de luz, de agua.
Llevo yo la insulina que la vine a comprar aquí porque allá no se consigue.
Venezuelans are suffering, and today we'll be building bridges of hope. On the back of this concert, we can start maybe getting supplies into Venezuela.
No es es un regalo podrido. Es un paquete tramposo.
Tenemos que salir, salsa terrible. Nos echaron gases.
My greatest hope is that the world will be inspired by them, pay attention to their plight, and act.
Pero te voy a decir algo, Maduro. ¡Va a caer! ¡Va a caer!
Okay. So, this is, as you said, this is different because it is much more personal, and also the fact that you choose to bring it as your story and not hiding behind the camera. So, and it was important for you to show it this way, even in the trailer.
Yeah, it was a
good
big
thing.
But I wish everything happened so fast in 5 days. I'm a person that I really like to plan everything. And even the documentary, you just go with the flow, I still like to plan, and I search, and I'm like, okay, I have this is gonna be my character. I just knew that there was a conflict. And so the first, if we talk about what are the 3 elements that we as a filmmaker look are, personally, is a character, which it has a great transformation journey. And that was La Filarmónica. I knew it had a huge transformation journey, and I just follow one character. Here, I was very shy because I was like, oh, and I think that most of the filmmakers, we're shy, we're very good behind the camera, but it's like being in there. I wish I would have made the decision, although in my heart I knew I had to tell this story, but everything happened is I found this story on a Sunday. I was looking on Monday. On Monday I was looking for access to the story. On Tuesday I couldn't get the access. I was in the United States and I needed to be on the set, because sometimes you have to put face to face to really convince people of your passion and why you have to tell their story and why you have to give me access to it. And so on Tuesday, I just decided to tell my husband that I had to go and I have to arrange everything. And on Wednesday, I was in a plane and the event was happening that Friday. So in my head, I was like, I have the problem, I have a conflict. Well, how I'm gonna tell this story through, because I need a character. So I'm like, oh my God, what about if I'm gonna have to appear in the film? So I start filming a little bit of me on the airport, which I don't think you see it in there, but maybe one shot. But when I got there, I was looking for my characters, and it was on the go, picking. My heart is like, who can give me access? Maybe the governor could give me access to this story, or think about the characters, and I'm like, oh. When I was telling this story, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need to appear to bring all this story together, because it's my town and it's no better anybody than me to tell this story. The other thing was I could connect people who were abroad and bring them. It looked like organic, and instead of me throwing them to a place, it looked a little bit organic of me bringing people. I'm gonna take you to my town and show you what's happening there, and show you what's happening to my neighbors. And my neighbors, when I said my neighbors are Venezuelan, and I see Venezuelans as brothers because I'm from a border town. And I felt that their fight was my fight, and is the fight of any human. And the story was very universal, because every human being needs shelter, every human needs food, every human needs medicine. They don't have those three. They don't have that. So that day we were hoping to bring hope with the delivery of the humanitarian aid. And so I don't know if that answered.
No, it is.
If I went a little bit too side, but that's my new story.
And you learned from your previous experience about how to add this one, what must be, because it is a different story, of course, but were there some things that were similar that helped you, assist you to work on this one?
I have to say that the advantage of this one is that I had a very nice voiceover in the film. So we were able to pull pieces from my voiceover to tell the story. So that was nice. The challenge was that Land Philharmonic was so inspiring. Everybody wants to hear inspiring. This one is like, it is inspiring that we want to bring change, but it's also sad. So it's like, the people want to really hear more stories sad. It's like, how can I bring an angle and a different? And so that's why there is a call to action at the end. It said, what would you do? So it's not just me. If you see this around, what would you do? So it's I try to connect with them. So it was at the end, it was also trying to keep it inspirational, and also that call to action. And there are elements in there that we are looking for, like what a universal story should be. So we said a story of brotherhood, a humanitarian crisis.
Something that people from all over the world will care for.
Yeah.
And what is the plan for this film? I mean, for next? I mean, do you have a release date or?
Well, I don't have a release date yet. I just start showing it in festivals. The first one was Vancouver International Film Festival. It was really nice being there because Land Philharmonic was there, so they know my work and they like my work, so they invite me again. And the only hard part was like being in a theater with so many people and looking at the film and sharing with them. I missed that a lot. You know, there wasn't that experience of like going there and sharing in a theater. So we have to do it online. And then the film was going to be shown in some festivals in the United States in November. San Luis International Film Festival, Holy Shores, and this weekend it was shown on Thailand. So again, I'm like excited to show it. Just like my other things, I apply to other countries. I'm like, okay, where do I want this to hear? So it's like, I'm waiting to hear from Oslo. I hope I get into the Oslo Film Festival, but I'm trying to get, into different territories. And in December, we have another ones coming up, and I hope to launch the trailer next month. And again, hopefully get a great number of views to tell distributors that people want to see this story. And so when I'm ready to share the trailer publicly, I will let you know to see if you could share it with our audience and see if they would like to support us by sharing the film or the trailer.
For sure. We have a question over here. Do you use a special trailer editor or your film editor? So
I do use a special trailer. The teaser, and of course it was 2012, so we're talking about 8 years ago. And it was another trailer, not the film trailer. It was a trailer editor and myself who edit that teaser. And then as we go, I just prefer to have a trailer editor if I can, because he has, like you mentioned, Anat, like a fresh vision of the whole thing. But I always work very closely. It's not like I'm like, hey, here is my film. Bye. It's like, no, we totally, I said, we both shape the structure of the trailer, and we approve the script. We said yes, and then he goes and adds his magic, but it's a constant back and forth. And I said, don't forget to add this. This is all the images that I love. And then we go back. But I do have a trailer editor if I can afford it. Is something that I work really hard to have the money to afford an editor, because he is going to help me to bring the audience that I need. But it doesn't mean that you have to have a trailer editor. Is some of my, my preference is to have it if I can.
And then also you said work with the script, write a script, it will be easier to handle.
Yes, and if you definitely have to have a paper cut, not with all the images, but like I was reading to you in some of the cards, agree on the cards. We do agree on the cards ahead of time, and we adjust the cards when we see the images. And it's like, no, this is not working, move it up or down. And then based on the cards, we know, okay, this session we're gonna put images that go accordingly with this card, and so forth.
It gives you a frame to work in between.
Yeah.
And what would you say that a special, what must be in a trailer? What is a must thing that should be there?
I think conflict. I think you need to have some sort of intrigue for what's going to happen. And there are different, well, I would say, if I have to name the elements, I would say character, conflict, character, conflict, and I know I'm forgetting right now a third one. But definitely you need a character, and then you need to know if your conflict is, and show the environment, because we really need to give an audience a flavor of where you're taking them. In my personal view, the environment to me is very important. Also, you need to know what are your best bites from the film that you have without spoiling the ending. What evokes emotions and feelings? Don't say a bunch of information. You do need, like in my film, In the Crossing, I had to give some information, because if not, no one is going to know exactly what's the crisis there. So I mentioned socialism and dictatorship. So I tried to give that information without sounding too
teaching.
And teaching is like, how can I say it? So I'd say, I picked Maduro, which is the president of Venezuela, and the way that he just delivers the message, the way that just creating tension and conflict is always good, and to create that attention, it's like, I want to see that film. So
people ask to clarify which of the trailers was for the broadcasters and which for the public of the first film.
For the first, the broadcaster used the trailer that the second one that we show,
the official one,
but it was created by us. So they love it. They didn't have any changes, so they went with it.
And usually are they involved in the final trailer? I mean, how does it work?
In my experience, and is I haven't had. They just ask to add at the laurels, the festivals, and their logo at the end. So they don't like something. The trailer does have to pass legal. You know, right now with the crossing, we go through like a legal stage where they check my film and make sure that that I don't, how do you say in English? You know, like I'm not using something that I shouldn't be using. For example, one song, we couldn't get the rights of the song, so I have to go and take the song. And now my next step is they check also the trailer. And they said, yeah, that's fine, because I use images that I found also in YouTube. And in my films, YouTube should be my sponsor. And now I'm gonna get the insurance. As soon as I get the insurance, then I'm gonna launch the trailer. And of course, you have to launch the trailer. Like, I wouldn't launch it without being in festivals. No, now. For example, before it was because I had the need. Not that I didn't have the need on this one, but there is always a need of filmmakers to get money. But the Land Philharmonic, it was like a special. And with this one, I said, I'm just gonna wait, you know, until I'm in festivals to launch it. And
okay, so we answered this one. Okay.
Music, you need fantastic music for a trailer. Sometimes the music from your film doesn't work. In my experience, we have been able to use some music from the film, and then I was very lucky that in Lanfila, in the crossing, we had like tense music, so I was able to. My own, the music was totally composed with a composer, and who is American, but who is living in Thailand right now. So it's just wonderful. It doesn't mean that because I'm in another country and you're in another country, we can't hire people from over. I hired people from all over the place, whoever does the job the best. For graphics, is like, well, do I need him sitting next to me? No. And now with the COVID, we all work, you know, I'm in my house now working. So music is really important, and special effects and graphics, having some exciting graphics sometime, or the title treatment, a title treatment that stays with the audience.
Just a second. Just the word in Hebrew. And
yeah, thank you.
Okay. For international film, do you think, except from what you said already, that you should make it as much as international as possible, do you also think about the American audience in one way, or the European? Are there any differences that you think when you're...
And thanks for touching that question, because the first thing is, of course, you know, who is your target? No, and that was the case on that's the case on The Crossing. Who was my target? In this particular, to give you an example, in this particular, my target was the international audience.
Who doesn't know the story?
It was it was the international audience, because in my head I'm like, everybody from South America, from South America down from Mexico to Argentina, they know what's happening in Venezuela, and many other countries kind of know, but not. But so I decided to pick that this was for people that didn't know what was happening in Venezuela. So that's also why the voiceover is in English. And you try, and now I'm in a conflict because I may have to launch, with La Filarmónica, I launched one trailer. With this one, it's like, okay, is it gonna be one trailer in English and the other one for Spanish? Because I use both languages on this film, but it was really hard not to do one or the other. So that was the challenge. So this trailer, The Crossing, is for international audience.
And you do I mean, and you said you might do 2 versions.
Yeah.
The Spanish voiceover will be for more Latin America or also Europe. What? I'm just gonna have 2. So the English one is gonna be for Europe and everybody who doesn't speak Spanish, and the other one, I am gonna leave my voiceover in English, and then probably just have the subtitles in Spanish and remove the subtitles from the obvious parts that are in Spanish. Yeah, but it was a hard decision to do it that way. I'm sure there are other ways to be done, but that was what we decided. People are asking about the budget of the trailer, relatively to the budget of the film. You don't need to give us numbers, but how much should you put in your budget for the trailer in percentage?
In percentage. I normally have 2 budgets. One budget for the film that takes me from developing. Wait, I'm just thinking. I do have the trailer. I have the basic marketing tools. Actually, I have a space on my main budget
package
for marketing tools, and it says I can't give you an exact percentage, but you know that is your trailer editor. It really depends, I mean, on an experience, and I cannot release my trailer editor's rates, but I mean, just to give you an idea, any trailer not I mean, should I be talking about US rates to give people a real idea?
Yeah, it's okay if it's fine.
It doesn't mean there's such a but overall, if you do an average of how much a day is a trailer remove trailer, an editor in the United States is about $600 a day of an editor. So they make, it could be 500, it could be 750. It just depends on the experience of how many documentaries they have done. And sometimes people, what they do is that they edit their film and then they bring with a consultant, with an editor consultant. And they bring the editor consultant and they just meet with them once a week. And it says, what do you think of this? But they first discuss the paper cut, and then you go and edit, knowing this is my, and then you go back and forth if you cannot afford an editor. But as I said, I do the impossible to have an editor, because this is like my best friend, you know. And if you try to produce, direct, and edit, it could be done, and people don't do it. But I prefer to have an editor.
And you do recommend to put money aside for the trailer because it is an important.
I'll tell you something you're gonna need for sure. So people, when they see your budget, you can have at least your poster and your poster, your trailer. There's some basic deliverables that you know that people are gonna ask, and those are like at least, and your insurance. I forgot the third one. So it's like without those three things, it's like hard. And then I see somebody about, do you use social networks to promote the film? And any advice on marketing during the current times of the pandemic? Yes, we need social networks. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not the best into, I'm not like in like social media all the time, but we have to do it. So I'm starting to create like the basics that I know. It's like Instagram and Facebook, and because it's the only way that we can. And I use LinkedIn as my professional website, but I know people use all different. But we definitely need a social media strategy, and that's my next step. That's my next, in the next few days, I'll be
an expert.
Getting deep in. I'm finishing the poster right now.
Of the poster.
It will be done like this week. We're going back and forth in a few different things. And I was gonna show you, I don't know let me see. If I can I share? Can I touch? I cannot share a screen.
You want to send it to me in the...
Let me see. Can you share on the screen?
I think so.
You can give me 60 seconds. I can give you an idea of everything we're going through with this poster. Yes. Please check your WhatsApp.
Just a second. Oh, wow.
And that is not even it has changed. If you can share, I'll give them another version so they can see the difference.
What it was before,
where we are, and we're still not there.
I just will ask them, wait just a second, because I can't. Okay, just a second. Maybe we'll see another question until we solve this issue.
I'll send you the other version, but this.
No, once we figure out how to share, we'll show the both the two versions. Okay. Okay. Can you do it now?
I did. I sent you the second, and we're still.
But can you try and share now?
Oh, me. I'm sorry. I was texting you to WhatsApp.
No,
let me see. Share screen.
No, so maybe me.
Okay, here am I. I don't know if you guys can. We're in Israel, but so the flags of the Colombian and Venezuela are the same colors, and then we're discussing. Okay, no, the title should be bigger. I really like the tagline in big bold lines. But then they're saying no, that the person from press is telling me no, that the title needs to be way bigger than the tagline, and up. So we're moving it up.
Okay, now they can see this.
Thank you.
Okay, and this.
Mm-hmm. And it's still asking for the smaller version, like they want a story of the help even smaller and the crossing even larger.
To emphasize the name. And
when you tell them no, up to you also, it's like, no, I like this, but I can hear why they want to see the crossing bigger, so people would identify with.
Yeah, and they will know what to look for
between the trailer. But that's kind of like our work in progress for this week. One of the things that need to be done.
Wow, it is great.
Thank you.
And it's not. I mean, we said that it is a sad story after all, but this makes it more. I mean, it gets you want to go and see it because it. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask them which one they like. This is. May I send you the? Let me see. This one is even smaller. Please see if you got the third one, which is even smaller.
This was the first one that you started with?
A third via WhatsApp, a third version.
Okay. Okay. For some reason it's that. Okay.
So those are actually the fun things. Finish editing the poster and the trailer are exciting.
Okay, this is it.
Okay, well, we showed them the first two, but that was kind of just to give you guys an idea of where we are in the marketing process.
Just a second. Okay, people reacted about the two versions.
Okay, good.
Okay, are there any questions before we end up? Second. Okay. Okay.
It was nice to meet you too, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, you're making a very important social films that connect us all together and
Thank you.
make us do something that will matter after all.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing your knowledge.
You are also doing what I'm doing, because that's the life of the documentary.
Yeah, after all. Thank you. So thank you for sharing this knowledge with us, and have a good day, and you have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks for having me here.
Bye bye.